Well, the United States has imposed sanctions on 6 more ships and 3 nephews of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro after the seizure of an oil tanker off the coast yesterday. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt says the vessel will be taken to a US port as they intend to seize the tanker's oil. North America correspondent Carrington Clark joins me now. A very good morning to you, Carrington. Can you take me through these latest developments?
Yeah, so the US has now sanctioned a further 4 people. 3 of them are the nephews of the leader of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. The US says 2 of them are convicted narco traffickers. They say they were previously serving time in the American prison system before being released or swapped with Americans that were being held in Venezuela back in 2022. And they claim that they have continued to work in drug trafficking since then. They've also sanctioned 6 separate vessels, which again they are accusing of being used to transport oil illegally, as well as 6 shipping companies and an additional businessman. So this does seem to be, once again, a ramping up of pressure against Venezuela. We did hear from the White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt today, who did give some further details on the transportation of the oil tanker that was seized yesterday. It is going to a US port. Yesterday, the US president suggested that America was interested in actually taking ownership of the oil that is on that oil tanker. And today, Karoline Leavitt said that is the plan. But as you will hear from her, there is a very important caveat.
The vessel will go to a U.S. port, and the United States does intend to seize the oil. However, there is a legal process for the seizure of that oil, and that legal process will be followed.
Yesterday, we heard from the Venezuelans that they believe that this is an act of piracy and that the US is illegally attempting to seize their property. The White House today was asked repeatedly about whether or not we should look at this seizure of the oil tanker as part of a coordinated campaign to take on Venezuela. Up until now, the strikes that we have seen against vessels in the Pacific and in the Caribbean, the motivation for those strikes has been offered as being about attacking the drug trafficking from Venezuela into the United States. But they do seem to be wanting to say that there are separate issues at play here. One is about enforcing the sanctions against Venezuela's trading of oil, but they again accuse Nicolas Maduro of being the head of a drug smuggling operation. And obviously you can't ignore the fact that we are seeing these continued strikes against Venezuelans operating in the Caribbean and in the Pacific. Again, they're accused of being drug traffickers, although it's impossible for us to assess whether or not those claims are or aren't true. And obviously there is no legal process at the moment in play. But again, we are seeing Donald Trump taking this action against Venezuela, and we have seen him up the rhetoric even against Venezuela's immediate neighbor, Colombia, suggesting that the president of Colombia needs to watch what he's saying or he could be next.